Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. You're watching Q News, bringing you the latest regional and international developments. And here are the top stories making headlines for this hour. The UNRWA says it has identified more than 500 acutely malnourished children in Gaza during health screenings carried out alongside last month's immunization campaign. The agency says the findings underline the deepening humanitarian crisis. UNRWA says screenings of nearly 7,000 children identified 508 cases of acute malnutrition. The agency says the results come as hunger worsens across the territory, with famine declared in Gaza City and nearby areas in August. The Integrated Food Security Phase Classification, or the IPC, says more than 500,000 people across Gaza are facing what it calls catastrophic conditions. Aid groups are again calling for immediate, safe and unhindered access to deliver life-saving food, medical supplies and essential services. Qatar's Prime Minister says Palestinians have the right to remain on their land and must not be forced out of Gaza despite the scale of destruction. He also criticized what he called double standards over who should pay for reconstruction. Speaking publicly, Sheikh Mohammed bin Abdurrahman Al Thani said Palestinians have all the right to stay in their homeland and rejected any attempt to push them out of Gaza. And asked why Qatar should help rebuild, he said there are clear double standards, arguing that when Israel is held responsible for reconstruction, they will tell you no. The Prime Minister said the region shares a duty to help and that Qatar will continue supporting the Palestinian people, adding it will do everything possible to ease suffering and back recovery efforts. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says he expects to move to the second phase of the Gaza truce very shortly, and he made the remarks alongside the German Chancellor Friedrich Merz during a joint press conference in Jerusalem. Netanyahu said work is underway to advance the next phase of the agreement without giving a specific timeline or details. Chancellor Merz, on his first visit to Israel since taking office, held talks in Jerusalem focused on the truce, humanitarian access and regional security. The press conference comes as mediators intensify efforts to secure Phase 2 arrangements amid continued international calls to maintain the ceasefire and expand aid deliveries. And more than 2,000 volunteers in Dubai have packed food parcels at the Expo City as the Mohammed bin Rashid Global Initiatives Foundation launched a new humanitarian ship initiative. Organizers say the campaign aims to prepare 10 million meals for Palestinians in Gaza, and the foundation says that the Mohammed bin Rashid Humanitarian Ship Initiative is mobilizing volunteers and supplies to support food assistance for Palestinians in the Gaza Strip. And video from the Expo City showed long lines of volunteers assembling parcels as organizers highlighted the goal of preparing and providing 10 million meals. The initiative is part of the broader UAE relief efforts, with officials saying the focus is on delivering large-scale practical aid amid continuing humanitarian pressures in Gaza. Two Palestinians were shot dead by the Israeli forces in El Khalil last night, adding to the escalating toll of violence across the occupied West Bank. Since the beginning of Israel's war on Gaza in October 2023, at least 1,091 Palestinians, including 225 children, have been killed in attacks by Israeli forces and settlers. And more than 10,883 have been wounded and nearly 21,000 arrested during raids, confrontations and settler assaults. And that brings us to the end of our top stories for this hour. Do stay with us for continuing coverage, analysis and breaking updates from across the region and around the world here on Q News.